Hey everyone, Backpack Hack here coming at you with another trail tip. Several years ago, I started to migrate away from having an ice chest or cooler, simply because if I'm out on a long trip, it takes a lot of effort to make sure that it stays cool with ice. Now, in a local campground where I go test a lot of gear and spend a lot of time locally, I don't mind taking a cooler. But out here in the wilderness, it's 20-25 miles into town, and that's the better part of a day because of the poor condition of the roads. I don't want to become a slave to my ice chest out here to have to every 3 or 4 days take the better part of a day to drive into town, buy some ice, and drive back. I came out here to enjoy nature, not to be a slave to my cooler. So I started to migrate away from a cooler and get shelf-stable foods. Yes, it's nice to have meat and produce and dairy products when you're out camping, but it just isn't worth the effort out here. One of the things I would have to give up, however, is milk. I like milk, both regular and chocolate. So I started to look for shelf-stable alternatives. The first milk I tried was that Carnation because everybody knows it, but it just wasn't any good. So I did some research and I found a Nestle's product called Nido Fortificada. This is a very good milk substitute. They call it milk, you can call it milk, but it's actually, I call it a milk mix, a drink. It's not real milk. You will not get the rich, creamy satisfaction of a cold glass of milk with this dry mix, but it's close enough that it's acceptable to me. So once I found this, I thought, no problem. I'll just add some Nestle Quik into this and I'll have chocolate milk. That was a disaster. It would clump up, it wouldn't break up, it wouldn't mix. It was like drinking chocolate flavored cottage cheese. It was terrible. So I went on the hunt for a chocolate drink mix substitute for chocolate milk. And I found Augustin Farms Morning Mousse Chocolate Mix. And this is a very good product. And I used it for several months until 2020 came along and supply chain issues hit. It was hard to find this. This I could find locally in the stores. It's usually in the ethnic food aisles. It's not in with the other baking goods and things like that. It's in the ethnic food aisles. But the Augustin Farms, not sold locally. You have to order it online. And in 2020, it became hard to find. And when I did find it, it was getting expensive. It's a good mix. I really liked it. But when I couldn't find it, I got to thinking, I wonder if I can make my own dry chocolate milk mix. So I got looking at the ingredients and it's like, gee, other than a bunch of stuff that you can't pronounce that's probably in there for preservatives, there were only 3 ingredients that I thought I might be able to make my own mix with. So I started experimenting with baking cocoa, powdered sugar, and the Nido milk. And I started mixing those in small batches, trying it out, adjusting it a little bit. And once I had a good enough mix, I started to scale it up to where I could fill a half of one of these in a mix and have a very good, reasonable chocolate drink mix. It's not chocolate milk. I may call it that, but it really isn't. It's a chocolate drink mix. And with cold water, it is a very good substitute for real chocolate milk. So let me show you what goes into it. To start with, I'm going to suggest you just try 3 main ingredients. A half a cup of baking cocoa, 3 cups of Nido Fortificada milk, and 2.5 cups of powdered sugar. Now I've prepackaged these because I'm doing these out in the field. I didn't want to bring everything from the pantry and measure it out, so everything here is pre-measured and the ingredients will be listed down in the description below. I kept some of the Augustin Farm number 10 cans just to be able to identify what's in them, but half a cup of baking cocoa, 3 cups of milk, and 2.5 cups of powdered sugar, or confectioner's sugar, some people call it. Again, if you want to try this mix, go ahead and try just this and see if it suits you. But there are a few other things that I found that improve the flavor. One is a 1/4 cup or 1/8 cup of Nestle's Quik. That does give it a familiar taste that a lot of people would recognize and accept. There's one other ingredient that's going to go in here, and a lot of people are going to say, you're putting what in your chocolate milk? and that is salt. Not a lot of salt, very little salt. I'm going to say no more salt than in these little packages you get from the fast food restaurants. You don't want to overdo it. If you put too much in there, you'll taste the salt in the mix. But just a little bit like that is all you really need. And now it's time to mix it up. To mix up the dry ingredients, I don't use any electric appliance like a mixer or a blender. I simply use the can and my hands. What I do is I put the ends of the can on the ball of my hand and rock it back and forth. And as I do that, I use one hand to rotate the can back and forth, and I do this for about 40 seconds. And that should mix it up fairly well. You don't want to open it up right away because these are all absolutely bone-dry materials and they're in powder form, so if you open it up, you'll get a cloud of dust. So let it set for about 30 seconds and then you can go ahead and open it up. We've waited our 30 seconds. Let's go ahead and open it up and look at that. Your own homemade chocolate drink mix. I take a spoon and I look around for any large clumps. Now, I'm not really concerned about clumps like this because they will dissolve in the water when you mix it up. But if there's a great big thing like the size of a dime or a penny, yeah, I'll go ahead and break that up. But right now, I'm not seeing much of anything. What I do is I do take a teaspoon or a long spoon and just leave it in the can. This way, the spoon is always in that can. I don't have to search for one. It's always in here, and I don't need to clean it every time I use it. So now we've made our drink. Let's give it a try. This is a 27-ounce clean canteen bottle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 3 heaping spoonfuls into the container. Leave my spoon right in there. Add a shaker ball like I have this video for. Now, let's go get some nice cool water. I'm very fortunate to be in a campground that has fresh water available. This comes from an artesian well, so this is pure water from underground, and it is nice and cool. So let's go ahead and have a nice, cool chocolate drink mix. Now that we've got our nice, cool water and our drink mix in here, we just shake it up. Now when I do this at home, I'll shake it up and put it in the refrigerator overnight. That way I make sure all the bits and the loose ingredients get mixed in there. But out here in the campsite, if there's a little bit of chunk in there, I don't care. Now it's time for a nice cool drink of my DIY chocolate drink mix. Oh, that tastes good. This is Backpack Hat coming at you with this trail tip. Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Be safe out there, and I'll see you out on the trail. Cheers.